Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
What is up, my warrior fam? What's up? This is MS Champion Radio. Welcome back again. I hope everyone is having a blessed day. Let's just get right into today's topic. I apologize. Excuse me for that. I'm so sorry. But today I wanted to talk about MRIs and the fear of them and what happens when you're inside and things that can calm you down. And, I want to talk about that first MRI experience I had and the very second one. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. So an MRI, if for those who don't know, who may be listening, that's a machine that you go in when you're enclosed to get scans and basically scan/pictures of your brain, T-spine, C-spine, and if you need anything else below, you get a CAT scan of your stomach. So, or if you need something of your stomach, I'm not sure what you get of your legs, but I do think you can get an MRI of your legs. So when I got my first MRI, I remember when I was making the appointment, the young lady asked me, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I said no, but when I went in, I almost went crazy because it's just the thought of first you get laid down on this surface, on this bed type of surface. They rise you up and you go in, and then you're literally enclosed. Your body's out. My mom was there holding my foot, so I was very happy to know that she was there and I wasn't alone with that, because that's what you need sometimes. If you know, this is some piece of advice for you, whoever is gonna get one or anything of that nature, have somebody go with you, because you want them to be there. If they can hold your hand, if they can hold your foot, and that's what my mom did for me. And I'm very blessed that she did that, because I don't know what I would have done without her the first time. So that very first MRI, like I said, I almost went crazy, and I thought I could handle it, and it lasted about 2.5 hours, literally 2.5 hours. We went back there at 4, came out, it was like 6:45. So I was just like ready to go, and I remember I pushed the button. I told the gentleman, I'm ready to get out of here. I just can't do it anymore. He was like, "Do you want to? You're gonna have to come back the next day." He was like, "I can't force you to do it." He was like, "I don't want to put you under any pressure, but you only have a few minutes to go, about 15 minutes to go, 15 or 20 minutes." He said. So I was like, "Okay." And my mom was like, "Come on, Chris, you can do it." And I was very blessed for that again. So I finished it, and when it was over with, I tell you, I never had prayed to God. I always pray to God, but I'm serious. I prayed a lot right after that, because I'm just like, thank goodness this thing is over with, because it was not a fun thing. And the second time, I told my neurologist, and I told him I almost went crazy. He was like, he's going to prescribe me some Valium. And Valium is medicine that'll calm you. And it very sure enough calmed me, and I went to sleep in there. Second time, my mom told me, she peeked in, she said I was out, and I was. And so that was the first set of the MRIs. Then second MRIs, which was July 2017, that basically it went well as well. I had some volume, had some music, but I do remember when I asked the lady, I said, "Am I gonna have headphones?" She was like, "Sir, you're not gonna micromanage me and stuff." And I kept my composure. I don't get angry, I don't get upset about anything, but I do feel like that was a little rude, because this is one thing I've been told: if you have a concern about something, especially when it's coming to your health, ask a question. So I didn't feel like that was necessary. So that was rude, and she wasn't the nicest, but she gave me the headphones. I had Mariah Carey playing, and Mariah is one person in this world who can calm me down. So I'm very blessed that I had that. And and then I get when I get my MRI, I get contrast and without contrast. And when they contrast, you get it's a needle, and they inject you with it. And so every time I get that, I'm just like, oh, I'm like, I'm tired of being stuck with needles, but it's all good. It's all love. this is what I have to do for my health, so I just do it. So but yeah, the second one was great, minus that woman, she wasn't the nicest, but hey, we encounter some of those people sometimes. So this third MRI which I had was this past Tuesday, and it went well. Went back there, I took the Valium, it kicked in, I was floating, and you know what I mean by floating, and I was very calm. I went to sleep in there actually, and they played Mariah Carey for me. I didn't have headphones this time, but I heard her voice while I was in there, and it was just the most peaceful thing for me. And I'm just so blessed that they do that, because it's one thing to be enclosed at a party in a room, say a room with four walls, four square walls, and you're enclosed and you're in the center, and it's just a whole bunch of people around you, like 50, 60, 70, 100 people in one small square room. That's going to make you claustrophobic. But I'm telling you, it's something about being in the MRI machine that just makes you paranoid. And this is a real thought. And like I said, I'm always going to be 100% in raw and uncut with you guys. The first time I was going crazy, I was just thinking, oh my gosh, what if this machine breaks? And so when, me and claustrophobic, I'm just like, what if this machine breaks down and they can't push the button to get me out? But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it to God the rest of the time. I have to get MRIs for the rest of my life now, and just hoping for no new active lesions. Nothing else is going to come up. So that's all I had to pray for no inflammation or anything. But that was the thought that was going through my mind, and it was very scary, and it was nerve-wracking, and I just wanted to get out of there. And then the noise, I can tolerate noise, because one thing I think my mom could tell you, I was a noisy kind of kid. Like, I would be in my room, and to this day she still tells me I make a lot of noise in my room, but I'm like so small. So she was like, I don't know how. I'm like, but I don't know what she hears. But I think when I have my headphones on, when I'm like, well enough and able to jam, I'll be up jamming and, just dancing and, grooving on to the beat. But that's, that's what a kid does. But that noise when you go in an MRI, that's some of the most nerve wracking noise. And they put these little cushions inside of your ears to see it to kind of drown that noise out. But trust me, I mean, for me, it doesn't really work, so I would just prefer headphones, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that I can get headphones tomorrow, because I have another MRI tomorrow. And so no one really prepares you for an MRI. They tell you what it is and well, I guess, excuse me, I take that back. That is preparation for it, but you're not really prepared until you're actually in there, because I thought I was going to be Mr. Tough Guy, go in there, knock it out, and be done and over with it. But that wasn't the case. That was I can say that was probably one of the most terrifying things for me, because I didn't know what to do. And it's like, the first thing I wanted to do is escape. Get me out of here. Get me out of here right now. I don't want anything to do with this machine. I don't want to be in here. I don't know how I got in here. And that this is some real stuff that I'm speaking. And so, that's all I said. I had to pray and just keep God in my life. And especially during that kind of time, because how it's just like, how do you make it? How do you survive that? When it's all said and done, I think it should be one of the most calming things that is going to happen to you when regarding your illness, especially MS, because you need to be calm. You don't need any more stress level. You don't need your stress level, especially because with MS, we're always stressed, because we're always worried about the next day. We're always worried about the next thing. We're always worried about what are the test results going to be, or if we're in a flare, that's an already stressful situation. So going into the MRI, you need to be as calm as possible. I totally recommend some Valium. If you're not allergic to it, get it. Valium is my lifesaver when it comes to MRIs, because I cannot survive going in there without it, and I just refuse. And each and every one, for the rest of my life till I'm 99 years old, I will most definitely get volume. I don't care what anyone says, My grandfather, I'm not saying I don't care what he says, but my grandfather was like, Christopher is probably all in your mind. And, you know, I don't like to say things are all in your mind because fear is fear, and fear isn't good. And so if I have anything that's going to control my fear, best believe I'm going to take that. And with the volume, that's what happened with me. It calmed me down, it calms down my fear, and I know, and it makes me sleepy, and like I said, I float. So it it doesn't it doesn't really, make me as nervous and paranoid. The only thing I get paranoid about is I just hope there's no new active lesions and there's nothing on my brain more than it already was. Let's just go positive and go forward. And so another thing I want to point out is no metal. And I have braces, but that doesn't affect the MRI. But no earrings. So, you're going to have to take your earrings out. You're going to have to, they're going to actually, if you have tattoos, and things like that, if you have a pacemaker, you can't get MRIs because that has metal on the inside of it. And any metal in your body, a metal plate in your brain, any kind of metal is prohibited. So that's like, I guess a con, so if you're getting tested, if you have a pacemaker but you're having symptoms of MS, then they need to run tests on you. They're probably gonna have to take blood, or I'm not sure how they do it the other way, or probably I know one way is to get a spinal tap, which is very painful, I heard. And so that's one thing that they're gonna have to do. And I'll just say this. Shots aren't easy, but spinal taps, whew, no, 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 no. And thank God I didn't have to do that, but I did the it's kind of like the acupuncture test. I believe I spoke about this very briefly. I didn't even think briefly. I think I just brought it up and said it when I talked about it in another segment. But basically that is like acupuncture. I got stuck in so many places and that joker hurt. I wanted to punch the wall so bad. I was calm, but it hurts so so badly. And you know that's another thing I'm going to touch on as well as MRIs still, just the procedures and the tests that we MS patients have to go through, the things that we have to deal with, the the level of stress and wondering, people don't understand that, and we need people to understand that, and we can't make anyone understand, but we can't have anyone being insensitive around us, because it's not going to help our health, and it's not going to help us mentally, because mentally we fight with this every day. I can take my mind off of it if I'm being productive, but even if I'm being productive, sometimes it's still in my mind. Then when I'm ready to go to bed, I'm thanking God I got through the day, I got through my pain, I got through all of my symptoms, but it's still a mental struggle. So, and I would say this as well. If you go to an MRI, I wouldn't recommend, me personally. I've seen what at the facility that I go to, Washington Hospital Center. I don't believe that. Well, I've seen people there by themselves, and those I commend those, like, right hand. If I could give them a high five for them going there by themselves, because me, I'm always going to have somebody there with me. My grandfather, he was there with me this past Tuesday. He didn't go back. I didn't have nobody go back there with me, but I don't want to be in that place alone. I just don't. I'm sorry. You know, I need that. It's just something about someone who I love and I can trust, and just having that strong, deep love for being there with me. And I know that I'm not doing this by myself. And that's another thing that I've realized. I'm very needy and very sensitive, but this disease is only making that, I don't want to say worse, but it's only adding on to that sensitivity, because I don't want to be alone anymore. I remember, this is kind of off topic, but I remember wanting to live by myself for the longest time, and then you know I didn't really want to live by myself anymore. But now I don't want to live by myself until excuse me, I don't ever want to live by myself. I want to be married, because I I just can't do this by myself. And I'm almost 23 years old. I'm very blessed to have the mother I have, because had I moved out say I was moved out, had my own place, living by myself, and all of those symptoms started to occur, I would have had to come back home, break a lease, do something, talk to my landlord, something, because I can't deal with this by myself, and I can't have, I don't, me, my mom, she wouldn't mind. I'm her baby. She would not mind. But, just out of consideration, I wouldn't want her coming to the apartment, then having to come back home. It's just not good. So I would rather, be here where I can be at least monitored, on the days when I'm not feeling well, days that I need help getting up, walking with my cane, things of that nature. I can be here for that, and I'm blessed. And mommy, I love you. Thank you so much. So that's one thing, not I think it's very good if you have someone to go to your MRI along with you. Another recommendation that I have is listen to some very calming music, or your favorite singer before that. A rock band, if it's a rock band, maybe singing the heavy metal, and just music that you personally enjoy, or some calming music, or listen to some ocean waves on YouTube. They have like hour long, things that are hours at a time that last, videos that last hours at a time for like um, ocean waves, fire sounds, raindrops, and things like that. Wind. And I haven't done it in a while, but I used to play those while I went to sleep, and they were so calming. And that's something that I recommend, because you need to be as calm as possible. Don't go in there with your nerves on 10. Very, like I said, you can prepare yourself, but until you're in there, that's when you're really going to know, especially the very first time. So, but like I said, I recommend that, listening to some calming music. And I think those the only two recommendations that I can give, because that's what I do. I make sure I'm in the perfect zone, and I say a prayer, and I make sure that I'm calm to the most, I'm at the most calm that I can be, because I didn't expect, when I went in the machine, my heart was racing, but I think it's just the fact of being in there, but like I said, I was calm, the volume helped, but it's the fact that I was going in there again. And that's one place I don't like to be. I don't want to be enclosed. And a lot of people talk, and as teenagers, a lot of us say we don't ever like being home. But because it's like you get tired of being home. No, 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 no. I would rather be home all day. If I never had to leave the house, if there was two choices in the world, to get an MRI, or you can't leave your house, I'm never leaving my house again, because I'm not I really don't like being in the MRI machine. I can't state that enough. Another thing, as I spoke on before, the noises, I want to talk about that again, go a little bit deeper, because it's I can't really describe the noises, but I guess I can. It's like hammering sounds, and it it if you it I can get me myself, I get frightened by things very easily. So if you get frightened by things, it will kind of make you feel like, and then I remember that it kind of made me feel like, oh my goodness, like it sounds like somebody's trying to bang in to get in there, breaking in. And I'm like, that can be very frightening. So that's why I say music, someone to be with you, especially the first time, to hold your foot, hold your hand, and the volume. Volume, volume, volume. That's the key. All three of those, remember that, because you're definitely going to need them. If if you know you're strong enough, then this part doesn't even regard you. But trust me, that noise can be very aggravating. It can be annoying to some, but it can be terrifying as well. So you have to be prepared for all of those things. And that's why I wanted to speak on this, because at least if I can help one person who's going to hear this, who's never had an MRI, come across this radio show, and I want to be the one to help you. I love you guys. You guys are my warrior family, and that's why I'm here. We have, we have to have the bravest hearts, and that's not easy, And how many times do we have to go to the doctor a year? How many times do we get stuck? How many times do we get infusions, And every time I get an infusion, I'm just like, oh, I'm ready to go. So, and people might think getting an MRI, oh, that's nothing, but it's not an easy thing to undergo. So just remember, Once it starts, it will, it's going to finish, but keep your calm as much as you can, okay? And something else that I wanted to touch on, as I touched on earlier, mine was 2.5 hours long. Prepare yourself for that because you don't know how, depending on how many you choose to get within that day, it can be very long. That's why I've separated mine. Now from that point on, I separate them. I had one this past Tuesday and I'm having another one tomorrow. And it's I'm very glad that I do it that way. I guess some people would rather get it all done in one day, but me, I can't be in any kind of machine. That volume, it's going to help, but still, I don't want to be back there for more than at least, and it was only about 40 minutes, so it was very quick. So I was very happy and blessed that it went by quicker than I actually thought it was going to take. And this lady, she actually did my second MRI, and she, not the second, but the first two when I was officially being diagnosed, she did that second one. And she's so kind and she's very patient. Ask her any questions, she explains it to me, and that's all that I need and that's all that I ask for. And she's so kind. So I can only be blessed and thankful for that. But again, you have to remember you can be back there for a long period of time, and that's what's going to make you probably lose your mind. That's what's going to make you go crazy. So, if you do that, if you choose to get that, and now I'm really going to push this, get that volume. Get that volume. If you know your MRI is going to take a good while, please get that volume so you can if it might put you to sleep, you can just easily doze off smoothly. Then maybe by the time you wake up, or if you wake up in the middle of it, or if you have contrast, and then they'll tell you, only maybe 15 more minutes to go, or the last hour, and then go right back to sleep, and boom, wake up again, it's over. Do that for yourself because you're going to save yourself your sanity. You're going to save yourself a lot of the pain that you're just going to save yourself your sanity basically. So in closing, again, well, I need to say this. Thank you for listening. And I think, going forward, getting MRIs, I'll be all right. I was all right ever since after that first one, so it's not really that scary. But again, just being in there, and then it's very dark, taking pictures, and then just having your head enclosed in something and the rest of your body is out. Do you know what that sounds like, what that could do to someone? So just remember, it's all gonna be the less we stay calm, excuse me, I'm sorry for stumbling. The more we stay calm, the more smoother it's gonna go for us mentally. So we have to keep our mental state up. We have to make sure that we're gonna be up and running, and make sure that our mind is running with positivity that whole time. Because if I go in there with negativity, it's just gonna kill the whole vibe. And another thing too, when getting tests ran, and like I said before, that's not easy because it's always in the back of our mind. We just don't want anything to show up, anything new to come. But, and that can be instilled in us already from that thought. But one thing is for sure, we're going to make the best out of it. That's always what I love to close out of my segment. We're going to make the best out of it. We have no choice but to make the best out of it, so MRIs, tests, your infusions, your weekly injections, your pills that you have to take daily, anything that you do, stay calm, don't beat yourself up too much about it. Sometimes you can beat yourself up a lot, I found myself, doing that, but I come out of it. And I'm not saying, and I hate when people tell, excuse me, I said that wrong. I like when people tell me, it's gonna be okay, because it's easier said than done. And I'm the very first one. I told somebody this the other day. I'm like, I appreciate that, but that's easier said than done. That relief is gonna be near when I'm always in pain. I'm like, that's easier said than done. So, to be honest, I don't really look for relief anymore. But the one thing I do still have, and as I talked about in the last segment, I was losing my faith, but I know how to regain it. I do still have my faith. I have God. I have positive people in my life. I have my music, my writing, things that I've already talked about and always talk about. I have those things. So again, in closing, I said that already. MRIs, just prepare yourself and take those tips that I gave you and just use them. I hope they've helped you. This is Chris Carter, the MS champion. I love you so much, Warrior fam. Shout out to you all. You guys mean the world to me. My social media is Young MS Warrior, at Young MS Warrior. Young is spelled regular because we young people use a lot of slang, but it's spelled regular. And my YouTube channel, I need to post on there. I'm gonna post on there this week. Um, it's Young MS Warrior as well. And again, thank you for tuning in. I hope this helped you. Love you all. Let's do this. Let's fight.